Okay, we're gonna talk about our top 5 movies of 2022. Okay, so let's start with your 5.
I do have one honorable mention, and that would be The Batman.
Yeah.
It didn't make my top 5, but it was close. This is a movie that I didn't want to see. I didn't care about it. It was like when people said Ben Affleck was going to be Batman. I was like, come on. Robert Pattinson, same reaction. Now, I've never watched a Robert Pattinson movie. I've never seen a Twilight movie. I've never seen anything that he's in. I went into this movie with no expectations, and I was completely satisfied. I couldn't believe how much I liked it. And I even told Robin, this might be the best Batman movie. And I think part of it was because I had no expectations. Now, Christopher Nolan's movies are hard to beat. Batman Begins has always been my favorite. Dark Knight is a good movie, but I think that it's not as great as people think it is because there's some familiar cliches that Christopher Nolan does in that movie. Anyway, we will talk about that another time. But the Batman, everything is good in it. And despite what I'd heard beforehand, I heard, oh, he's going to be the emo Batman. It looks like a comic book. Like I said, the cinematography was great. The directing, everything about the movie is good. So I recommend, if you haven't seen The Batman, forget any of the criticisms you've heard, forget all the stuff. Well, Robert Pattinson, just watch it. And you'll see that it was a very well-made movie. That's my honorable mention for 2022. Now, you want me to do my top 5? Number 5 is Elvis, based only on Austin Butler's performance, which one of the best I've ever seen of any biopic, of any music biopic that you're ever going to see. His performance is so good. Baz Luhrmann is not one of my favorite directors, but I think he did a good job. He gave it that oomph, he gave it that high production value that you would want from a movie that's going to be about Elvis. The musical numbers and the fast cut editing, all the things that he did.
Yeah, that was one of my most memorable movies of 2022. Austin Butler just blows you away with that performance.
Yeah.
So my 5 is Hustle.
Oh, didn't see that. So tell me about it.
If you don't like Adam Sandler, this movie might change your mind about him. He's a basketball scout who finds a prodigy basketball player who works as a construction worker in Spain.
Okay.
So he sacrifices everything to get this prodigy in the NBA. It's very similar to Trouble with a Curve.
Oh, that's a good one too. So it's not a comedy, it's a drama.
It's not a comedy. Since Uncut Gems, he's proven to be a better drama actor actually than a comedy actor.
Oh, Uncut Gems was great.
You actually take him seriously. A troubled mentor and a troubled mentee overcoming their own demons and, triumph in the end.
Number 4. I didn't grow up being a huge Top Gun fan. Having no expectations, just like the Batman, made it even better because it was so good. I was entertained the entire movie. It felt like going back in time to when movies were more real. The story is pretty predictable in a lot of ways, but it's well done. When you go see a band that you love in concert and they hit all the notes right, that was Top Gun.
Yeah, this is the perfect movie for a first date because anyone will love it regardless of their taste in movies.
Yeah.
The Hallmark Channel-ish romance is cute. And, Tom Cruise is like the male version of a big city girl coming home to find himself and unexpectedly rekindles an old flame.
And it was just good to see a movie that just had that grit and that reality that you miss, in a lot of the modern CGI stuff that you see in action movies nowadays. So Top Gun is my number 4 movie of the year. And one of those movies I'm glad I saw on the big screen.
I love how the movie ended with Jennifer Connelly and Tom Cruise sailing into the sunset.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. It's like all the tropes are there, but it works, right? It just leaves you satisfied. It's like eating a nice steak, right? You just feel satisfied when it's over. It's one of the few sequels that I think is better than the original.
So my number 4 is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I still need to see this movie.
Boy.
With Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage.
Right. And Pedro Pascal's in it as well.
Nicolas Cage is a washed-up actor with money problems because he's an A-list actor doing B movies because, I don't know, I think he has problems with money.
I've heard that it's not what you expect either. Like, the movie takes you in a direction you're not expecting. Would you say that?
Oh, yeah. So Pedro Pascal here is a drug cartel boss, but his real passion is writing screenplays. he's writing a script and he wants Nick Cage to star in his script. It's so silly. He's this drug cartel guy whose real passion is movies. And when they got high on LSD, they were talking about their top 5 movies. And then I think Pedro Pascal's number 1 movie was Paddington 2.
I've heard those are good though.
I actually watched Paddington 2 after this movie and wow, he's right. This is Nicolas Cage making fun of himself, and this satire about his real life is funny but doesn't take itself too seriously.
My number 3, starring one of my favorite actors, Sam Rockwell. It's See How They Run.
I haven't seen that. What's the plot?
Well, it's a murder mystery. There's a play going on, The Mousetrap, and this American, played by Adrian Brody, he's just this crass guy and gets on everybody's nerves and nobody likes him, and then he ends up getting murdered. And what's interesting is that he's the narrator.
Oh.
He's the one telling you the story, and he's like, the guy that's being murdered doesn't usually tell you the story, but that's exactly the way it works. And he's killed within the first few minutes of the movie, and then they have to figure out who did it. And then in the course of that, other people get killed. Sam Rockwell's the detective, and Saoirse Ronan's his assistant, and they are trying to track down who the real killer is.
So it has like the Wes Anderson feel?
Yes. As a matter of fact, that's what I thought when I first saw the preview. Like, hey, is this a Wes Anderson movie? And I don't remember the name of the director, but he did a really good job. And it's definitely got that same very whimsical, light, comical, kind of fast pace. And like I said, Sam Rockwell is so perfect for that.
Is this a regular whodunit, or it has drama?
It's a little more comical, clever whodunit.
Okay.
Yeah. And the way the story's told, well, I don't want to spoil it for you.
No, don't spoil it.
Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love the way it's structured. It's very clever.
Proper setup and payoff and all that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's one of the most satisfying things about the movie is how it does set up a payoff. And of course, like any good whodunit, there's some red herrings along the way. There's some twists that you think, that throw you off track.
I gotta watch this because I love Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, her character in this movie is so funny because she's so earnest and she wants to. This is her first case, right? So the slightest hint that if a person seems guilty, she's like, "You're under arrest." Immediately, she's like,
she jumps into it.
"I arrest you," and they're like, "Hold on."
I'll kill you.
It's as good as a confession.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Constable.
Let's get a little bit more evidence. But she's just so eager. It's hilarious.
I gotta see this. This.
You'll love it. Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Okay, my number 3 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
There's another one that I need to see. Oh.
Yeah, this is a Pinocchio you've never seen before. This is a Pinocchio who joins the Italian army and meets Benito Mussolini.
Oh, interesting.
It's very similar to Del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth in 2006.
Right.
And
Right.
Pinocchio is basically a male version of that little girl who meets a kind of horned goat mythical creature.
Yeah.
And she makes a deal with this creature, and
The wooden boy with the borrowed soul. While you may have eternal life, your loved ones, they do not. You never know how long you have with someone until they're gone.
it's funny and it's serious. It's a little bit dark. It goes in a limbo between dark and family.
You expect that with Del Toro. He's like the Italian Tim Burton.
And the bad guy here is Christoph Waltz, so you'd expect it to be great.
He's
And
good at being creepy because you're like, I believe that you're actually this bad person, which is good. That's a sign of a good actor.
He's very nuanced. He's never one-dimensional. And even if he tries to be one-dimensional, and it's still good. Because in this Pinocchio, he's kind of like this one-dimensional comical puppet master. He wants Pinocchio to be his prodigy and take him around the world to do some shows as a real-life puppet without strings. Del Toro is a master of setup and payoff, and every twist is an aha moment. That's the only way I can describe it.
Is it stop motion?
It's stop motion, but it's high definition stop motion. It's the lighting, the cinematography is perfect, and the pacing is perfect. Everything in this movie is perfect. I can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, see, from just the images that I saw, it's like this perfect, in between a cartoon and reality. That's like, it looks seamless, right?
Yeah, let's just call it the Avatar of stop motion.
Oh, so it's groundbreaking.
But the story is, I could say that this story is even better than the original Pinocchio. I could be wrong, but watch it. And
is there a whale? There's no whale in this one?
There's a whale in this one, so there are some elements
okay.
they used in the old just to pay homage to that.
Right.
But
right.
it's not copying the original. It creates its own story, and the ending is shocking. It's almost shocking. The ending is, it's a tearjerker but heartwarming at the same time.
So is it, would you say it's not necessarily a family movie? Is it something that you would let kids see?
It's PG-13.
All right, we're going with number 2. You'll never believe what number 2 is on my list.
Okay. What is it?
This is a movie that got almost no recognition, no nominations. If you look it up on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a terrible review because this is typical. If there's any movie that's got a positive message, especially if it's a religious Christian message or if it's coming from a conservative point of view, a lot of times the critics are going to hate on it. They're going to crap all over it. And this movie's got like in the 50s. It shows you that it's divided because some people think it's great. I've seen reviews actually of people that say it's a great movie.
What you guys get, one phone call a week in here? Who you gonna call, huh? When no one else gives a shit what you got to say, God does.
When the man comes around.
He ain't giving up on you. Don't you dare go giving up on yourself.
And then other people obviously didn't think it was great. And I actually have a copy of it so that I can just show it to you. This is Father Stu, Mark Wahlberg.
Father Stu.
Yeah.
Okay.
True story about a guy who becomes a priest. And Mark Wahlberg is the perfect guy to play this because he just has this tenacious personality. He will not be denied. And you see in the movie, he has his parents. Mel Gibson plays his father. His mother is played by, insert name here. I don't know why I can't remember her name, but she's also the mom in Silver Linings Playbook. She's been in a bunch of movies. She's good in everything she's in. Both of them are just the worst parents. They give him no encouragement. They're not just profane. They don't just drop F-bombs. They say things that are really offensive. And that's the interesting thing about this movie. And maybe that's one of the reasons the score isn't super high, because it's a rated R movie. And yet it's a movie that's a positive view of Catholicism. It's like people don't want to see a movie that makes the Catholic Church look good, right? The critics don't want that. They want Spotlight, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture, which exposes the crimes and the sins of the Catholic Church. But this is a different movie. Mark Wahlberg's character is a guy that he's kind of crazy. He's kind of shiftless. He tries all these different things, and everything he tries, he fails at. But he's the most persistent person. This Stu character. He wants, if he starts something, he's going to keep going. But really what happens is he falls in love with this girl. Okay. And she's going to be a nun. She's beautiful. And he's in love with her. And she's like, I'm going to be a nun. This isn't going to work out.
Oh, no.
But he will not stop. He keeps pursuing her. Okay. And this might be spoiling the movie a little bit, but she basically renounces her vows because they're going to be together. But then...
Oh, and then... Okay.
Then he decides, now I want to be a priest.
Why?
He has a near-death experience. He has like a motorcycle crash.
A divine intervention.
Not remembering it exactly, but I think he has like a vision. I think it was Mary actually that speaks to him. And he recovers from this accident where he almost died. And he basically says, it's like he makes a deal. Like, if I live, I'm going to dedicate my life, to you and to serving God. And so when he comes to the girl and he says these things, she's like, I gave up my vows for you. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I can't I can't back down. Like I made a promise because that was his personality. Like if he set his mind to something,
So that's his flaw and his strength at the same time.
yes.
It's funny, right?
It's got a lot of unintentionally funny things, but also it has a lot of funny parts too.
Your son is about to make a huge mistake.
I'm gonna be a priest.
For Halloween.
It's fun to watch Mark Wahlberg go up against the people in the church, right? And they have all their rules and they have all the regulations, and he just butts heads with them, you know. But doesn't it say this in the Bible? Doesn't it say this? You know?
So it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he except he's Jesus dropping F-bombs.
That's funny. I want to watch that.
But Mel Gibson's character is just this mean, he's just a horrible guy, right? And he's just loathsome, but he's so good at playing that character. But to see these characters kind of transform, I mean, you want to see some good character arcs in a movie, this movie has a bunch of them. And it's heartwarming. At the end of the movie, you're just going to be like, you're going to be weeping. I mean, I can't lie to you. It made me cry.
Wow. Father-son reconciliation.
Yes. And it's a story of faith, and it's a story of, you know, just fighting through adversity. And this is a movie that's going to take a twist that you don't expect. You think this is going a certain way, and then when it gets towards the end, you're like, wow, I didn't see this coming. And this is a true story about a real guy in Butte, Montana. I think he's still around, and he's probably very well known there. People come from miles and miles to see this guy, to be encouraged by him, to get advice from, to, you know, go to confession. And Mark Wahlberg, like I said, is the perfect guy for this role because he's just tenacious. You know, he's got that attitude. He's got that Boston attitude. So he's perfect for playing this character. It's probably hitting a narrow demographic because people that are non-religious might not like it, and people that are very religious and don't want to hear profanity are not going to like it. So it's hitting a narrow, but I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
So my number 2?
Yes, number 2.
Triangle of Sadness.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
This is a satire about capitalism and money, you know, and excess. You know, it shows you people that are slaves of money.
So what do? I sell shit.
The story opens with 10 guys half naked. They were male models, and then there was this guy that is interviewing these male models that, why are you guys in this profession where you only make a fourth of what female models make? And that right away hooks you because, you know, the issue of pay gap between men and women are very controversial topic these days. And this movie tells you that there's an occupation wherein men only make a fourth of what women make. So then this girl was an influencer. She's a YouTuber or something like that because she's a model. And they got a free cruise, a yacht, a private yacht. So she could take pictures of the food and the yacht and promote it on social media. In this yacht, they met these billionaires around the world, like a Russian billionaire, an American billionaire, and the other side are the workers of the yacht. You know, the toilet cleaners, the cooks, the poor people. And then there is this, they're having fine dining. It's the captain's dinner. But then there was a storm and the boat was doing fine dining while they're bending because their tables are moving left and right. And everyone's throwing up, but some of them just try to maintain their composure. And so there was a shipwreck, and now money has no value when you're in an island.
Right. It's like Lord of the Flies all of a sudden.
And when they got shipwrecked and they were trying to survive in this island with no food and no survival skills whatsoever, suddenly money didn't mean anything, and then the field is leveled.
Right.
But the toilet lady, the Filipina, knows how to fish and knows how to build fire. There was this boss lady who was the boss of the crew, and then she's making orders, blah 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 blah, do this and do that, and she was ordering the toilet cleaner, and then the Filipina toilet cleaner kind of switched. Sorry, Ma'am Sarah, but in the yacht, I'm toilet cleaner, but in here, I'm the captain.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
And then he said, you, Russian billionaire, who am I? You're the captain. And then she throws food into the Russian billionaire. And then he goes to the other guy. You, who am I? You're the captain. And he gives food to the guy. He distributes fish to everyone that recognizes that she's the captain now.
So is it very cynical? Is it also funny?
It's very funny, but they don't know they're funny. The actors don't know that people are laughing at them. I haven't seen a comedy like this before.
Everybody, we're going to do our number one at the same time. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
We've already talked about this movie so much. I do want to say this, though. There's comments about my Banshees video where I got it wrong because the Civil War wasn't about the Protestants and the Catholics. It was a territorial thing. Yeah, I'm not from Ireland, and so I don't know all the history. It is interesting, though, and I wouldn't mind studying that. But the whole point of the theme is that it doesn't matter, and that they don't even really know what the fighting is about, because it doesn't make sense. There's not a good enough reason, whatever the reason is, for this fight to be happening. For people that live together, that should be brothers, that should love one another. What are you fighting about? And it's manifested in the relationship between these two men. So it's inconsequential what the Civil War was actually about.
You know what that's called? It's called an Achilles heel. It's like you did everything right, and then there's this one detail you missed, and that's what sticks. And it's natural.
Yeah. But thank you for commenting, and thank you for watching our videos.
Yeah, for me, I'll never forget this movie because it made me think about my own death. You know, suddenly I was in the shoes of Brendan Gleeson's character when he said, I just have this tremendous sense of time slipping away on me, Boric. And I think I need to spend the time I have left thinking and composing. When I heard that, the mood of the movie shifted. I was on the shoes of Brendan Gleeson at that moment, and I was thinking of my own death.
Right.
What am I gonna do? You know, if I reach that age, I wonder if I'll ever be ready to die.
That's what a Mark McDonough script will do. You know, it will make you'll be laughing and then you'll be thinking. You know, it's this very rich writing, this rich Irish sensibility that he has, where it's like, we're going to talk about death, and we're going to talk about legacy, and we're going to talk about this time slipping away, but we're all at the same time, we're going to make you laugh at, you know. And then you have the poignancy of what Podrick is saying about, you know, being nice and how important it is to be nice, you know. And it touches you, you know, and when you see his sisters there and she hears what he's saying, it touches her. Mark McDonough is so good at that. He's so good at making you feel, but then also making you think.
The reason why I like Martin McDonough is that his scripts are kind of like Quentin Tarantino, wherein both directors just puts you in the situation without exposition.
Right.
The first dialogue of Banshees of Inisherin was, are you going to the pubcom? It's 2 o'clock like. And then his friend doesn't answer him.
That one line is so good because you already understand this is something that happens every day, and for some reason it's not happening today. Something is wrong, you know, so you're already on edge, like, what's going on? And he gets to the pub and they're like, are you rowing? I don't think we're rowing.
Have you been rowing? And the repetition of rowing, I think that word was repeated, I don't know, 30 times.
Yeah, you figure it out in context, even if you've never heard it used before. Yeah.
And I love the Irish accent. I love how they say, like, just shush, Barrick, shush. Yeah, I'd shush, like, yeah, I'm really sorry, like. When he cut his finger, I think that was an expression of he's unsure of what his legacy will be, and he made that as an excuse to not make music anymore. So because he only cut all of his 4 fingers when he finished the piece, Banshees of Inisherin.
Isn't it also, like, in a weird way, like, you know, maybe they won't remember me for the other things, but they'll remember me for this.
Yeah.
They'll say, that was that guy that cut his fingers off. I mean, that's something that people will remember, right?
That's a good catch.
So that could be part of his motivation as well. Like, he's afraid that he's going to be forgotten. So, well, this will be something that will be remembered. This is a story that will probably go beyond Inisherin, and people say, did you hear about a guy that cut his fingers off?
Yeah, it's a good catch. Yeah, I didn't catch that.